You are listening to the It's Your Time podcast, and I'm your host, Certified Life Coach Michelle Arnold Burke. In today's episode, I'm sharing another bonus mentoring series episode, and today we're speaking with Steve Coleman, Senior Area Sales Director Endovenous at Medtronic, and we're discussing mentoring and the power of five. Welcome to the It's Your Time podcast, the podcast where busy professionals like you get the practical solutions and support you need to gain control of your schedule so you can strive to be the best in your career, but without the stress and overwhelm. If you're looking to increase your energy and decrease your stress, you are in the right place. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. Today, I have another exciting conversation to share with you around mentoring. And as part of this bonus series, this episode is focused on the benefits of being in a Power of Five group at Medtronic. Now, again, this project has been done in collaboration with the Aspire team at Medtronic and references an amazing group opportunity, but I really want you to still continue listening even if you are not part of the company, because as you listen to Steve talk, you might get a whisper of an idea of maybe starting something similar in your own company, something that might help your career in a way that works best for you. So first, let me give you a quick little bit of insight as to who we are talking to, and then I will give you an overview of the program. I have to tell you, I feel so fortunate with all of these guests this week, and especially with Steve Coleman, because I have worked with Steve for a couple of years. He is the Senior Area Sales Director within Endovenous at Medtronic, and I would say probably it's been around 5 years that we have been part of this Power of Five group together. He is our leader, and I serve as the team coordinator, and we have so much fun doing it. We have had awesome people go through, and even currently this year, as part of our group. Now, what is a Power of Five, you might ask? The objective of this group is to empower and enable commitment, passion, and opportunity amongst Medtronic women and men through consistent self-led small groups. So basically, we focus on shared experiences and expertise in a way that fosters professional growth and development. So again, even if you are not part of Medtronic, you can make up a group like this for yourself. Each group makes up their own agenda. And for us specifically, you will hear Steve mention in the interview, we like to decide as a team what the year looks like. Like, what does everyone want to get out of this opportunity? So that is a question to think of if you are looking to do a group outside of Medtronic. What is the intention? I feel like we should all be asking ourselves that every day, right? No matter what we're doing, group or no group, what is the intention? And if you are interested in learning more specifically about the Medtronic Power of Five, please, and again, this is with every episode in the series, do not hesitate to reach out. It is really such a great opportunity to learn more things like leading from any place, networking and connection, book clubs, podcasts, work-life balance, career opportunities, strength finders. There are just so many opportunities for professional development within this group, and I would highly encourage you to please learn more. Reach out. And listen, groups like these give you exposure to Medtronic leadership. You have a chance to showcase your leadership, you gain more visibility in the organization, and maybe the best part is it truly allows you to build lasting relationships. So without further ado, please take a listen. Thank you so much for being here. This is going to be so much fun. Can you start by introducing yourself in a way that you see most fit? Share all of the goodness.
You bet. Thanks, Michelle. God, we worked together for years. This is so fun to be formally interviewed by you. It's kind of neat. So how would I introduce myself? I mean, look, the typical, I've been at Medtronic going on my 17th year. But to tell you a little bit about me, look, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a community person, my community matters, and love the opportunity to pay it forward. Professionally, I'm a pure play sales leader. I have been in sales 27 years. Most of it in leadership, and just love the fact that I have found my place in the quote unquote professional world as a sales leader, and that's how I'd introduce myself.
That is awesome. And now this series specifically, we're talking about mentoring. So maybe can you just share a little bit about why you think mentoring is important and maybe even a little bit about your journey through those 17 years, whatever, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever
You
seems
bet.
appropriate.
You bet, right? Super cliche, right? The African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, go together. Um, I just think that mentoring is such a together function that allows two people to benefit, right? Sometimes we think of mentoring only as the individual who's being mentored, but the person mentoring themselves benefits just as much, if not more. um I look at my journey, and I look, early in my career, to have the opportunity to be mentored by individuals, um you know you know Jeannie Haswell, Jill Salambean, Bill Hake, right? That's when I was in a completely different industry, and they really helped me better myself, and realize that there was more than just, the day to day what I thought I wanted to do. And then as I got into my career, at Venus slash Covidian slash Medtronic in the 17 years I've been here, to have other individuals, mentor me, but then at one point in time have that turning point and realize, wow, this is so great. It's time to help others, right? And as others start to approach you, or you realize, man, if I could just have a little more one-on-one time, if they're open to it with that individual or those individuals, how great would it be to kind of pay it forward, like was paid forward with me, back when I was younger in my career, or didn't know I wanted to be a leader yet, and to have, maybe help others who want to be leaders or haven't realized that they have that leadership potential yet. So that's kind of been my journey, first being mentored, but then being a mentor was a really quick pivot when I realized it was time.
Yeah, and I see you volunteering to help mentor so many people. Like you mentioned, we've worked together for years and specifically through the Power of Five group here at Medtronic. So, can you maybe touch on? I mean, I might be biased, but I think you're one of the best leaders that we have. So, maybe why you keep showing up year after year and what your thoughts are on the benefits of having groups like this for employees?
Yeah, I mean, Power of Five, we were so lucky, right? We grabbed on early, right, when it started. And the first of all, it's five individuals, five women who want to, quote unquote, be a part of a mentor group, who want to be mentored individually, right? There's such a desire there, which I think is the most important thing in that, is that there's a willingness to lean forward. There's a willingness to go all in. I think it was successful and has been successful for us because we we genuinely care about this group, right? I think that you and I, this isn't a check mark in a box. We work together. We ask them, what are you looking for to get out of this? We're very structured. We gain resource for them. Everyone shows up, everyone goes all in. But then my favorite part is the sidebars, right? You look through the years, the number of one-on-one conversations Power of Five has afforded me, or one-on-one mentorship. I mean, think how many of those women have become leaders themselves, right? And it's so great that Power of Five allows us the opportunity to have that baseline group togetherness in mentoring, but all the one-offs are where kind of the rubber hits the road. And that's the biggest benefit. I think that it is. Again, clearly those being mentored hopefully have benefit, but I think you and I secretly, we get pretty charged by seeing their success as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard you tell a couple of different stories about um, kind of your reasoning behind helping advance women in leadership positions. Do you think there's like a story or a turning point that you can think of that really has pushed you to be so committed to this?
Yeah, you know this, and it's some vulnerability, but I'll give it to you, right? It's interesting. I attended when I first got to Medtronic. Geez, when we were acquired about 9, 10 years ago, I attended an ADN meeting, and and the gentleman who spoke was, I believe, the chief diversity and inclusion officer from General Mills, and he did such a great job of helping us realize what unconscious bias was, right? And I realized, and again, this was a decade ago. I'm looking at it right now. I realized sadly, I had been quote unquote managing or treating or mentoring my own children differently based on unconscious bias. I have a son who's my oldest and two daughters, and I was mentoring my son in a manner that you can do this and you can do this and you can do this, and my daughter's in a different path. And I realized, shame on me. My daughters have the same, if not way more skill sets than my son does. And I remember calling my wife, and I was pretty emotional that, I mean, they were kids, right? I mean, my son's 16 at the time, my daughter's 14, my other daughter's 12. And I was like, I was emotional. I was actually on a treadmill, kind of walking and talking, and just kind of broke down and said, I can be better. I can be better for our girls. And not quote unquote pour so much into our son. And it also pivoted very quickly at work, right? When I came to Medtronic, the difference between diversity and inclusion at Medtronic, right, and at Covidian were night and day. And it was so great to be able to then quickly be a part of Aspire and to go to Aspire and see that we could be involved in Power Five and help, senior leadership sponsor, a land group and all these things that we've been able to do. That was my changing point when I realized that I had the opportunity, because of an unconscious bias, to change in my own personal life, and it changed me professionally. It's helped me grab on, and really want to mentor, other people, other than just those that fell in my unconscious bias, and it's happened, right? I mean, I can name countless, not countless, but quite a few people who've been mentored that are part of Aspire or women leaders, and it's great that changed me, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that Medtronic actually provided, that kind of shocked me into, hey, I need to change. So
Yeah, I think that's such a great story. And I think you've touched on a couple things. Like, I feel like in order to be mentored, right, we need to have the willingness to show up for ourselves. And that kind of seems to be a theme talking to other folks too, like owning your mentorship. And also the point that you make about self awareness. I think we all have some sort of unconscious bias, just like the way society tells women, right? Like, be nice or, be seen, not heard, kind of things like that. So even as I think the mentee, we need to be aware of what we think we have been programmed to believe and like step out of that and be like, what else is possible? Who else can I reach out to? But if people are intimidated, like what would you suggest if someone's looking at someone at your level and thinks, oh, I don't know if I can reach out to him and ask for this? How would you give them advice, I guess, on where to start?
absolutely, I think it's funny, we think, oh, I couldn't reach out to a person at her level or his level. Remember, that individual at one point in time was in the exact same spot you, as someone who wants to be mentored, was at, right there. No matter where you're at in your career, I mean, even if you're brand new, if you're a couple years in, if you're 5 years in, if you're already a manager, heavens, if you're already a director or a VP, there's somebody else who's in a spot that has been where you are right now as you even listen to this, right? Your struggles, your challenges, your strengths, your opportunities, your wins. There's other people who've been through that that if you want to have a connection, I think, to your question as how do you approach them, just approach them, right? I can tell you right now, unequivocally, I look at the VP for whom I've worked at Medtronic. I look at my co-directors in my own division and other senior directors. I don't know of a single person where if someone says, hey, can I get 30 minutes on your calendar, does not find the opportunity, right? I mean, case in point, Climb, right? I have the opportunity and love participating in our Climb program. I invite every time I'm honored enough to be invited. You guys, please get on my schedule. And I've never said no. And I would tell you, I just don't think there's a GM, VP, director anywhere where if you politely ask, can I get 30 minutes on your schedule to talk about career development, to talk about mentorship, to talk about a specific subject, they may put it out a little bit for timing reasons, it might not be the next day, but no, I'm just telling you, I think that's the secret. Hey, can I just get on your calendar? And then you make that connection. And to your earlier point, it's up to the mentoree, right, to really take the ball, right, to follow up on the assignments given or on the projects given or on the informal asks and say, hey, can we follow up in X days, and then follow up, track that person down. Your first 2 or 3 calls may be super informal, and then all of a sudden there may be an ask on either side of, hey, you want to get into, we should have a mentorship, relationship here. What do you think? Okay, let's go. Or vice versa. So just ask the question, and please don't be afraid to be a little vulnerable and realize at one point in time that person that you think is at that level that they just couldn't have time for you. They absolutely could have time for you.
It is so delightful to hear that because I have to tell you, I think every single person that's been interviewed for this series has said the same thing. Like, ask and someone will find the time. Like, Medtronic folks in leadership positions will put you on the calendar. If they can't, for some reason, like you mentioned, timing, they will suggest another person that might
Yeah.
be just as beneficial.
That's a great point, because what happens in that initial conversation or two, sometimes you start to see strengths or opportunities to grow where someone as a peer who can help that individual more than you can, right? And you never would have had access to that had you not just had that initial, half hour or couple conversations. So yeah, trust us, we're all in to help out. We really are.
Yeah, I think that's so important to remember as far as networking in general. It may not be the initial person you reach out to, but all the people around that person. And if you don't have the communication and the conversation about what your goals are, people can't read our minds, right? We need to be able to have these conversations in order to accomplish the goals that we're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to put yourself out there, right? You can't wait for it. And it's hard to do, right? We live in our little islands. We have projects we're in charge of, or AOP that we have to hit, or all these things. And sometimes you got to take a breath, and you got to be like, okay, next week, who am I going to reach out to that's been kind of in the back of my mind, or gnawing at my heartstrings or in my gut, that I just know I need to make a connection with, and just take a minute and send the invite, and it will happen. Crazy enough, it will happen.
It will happen. This has been so much fun. Have we missed anything? I love what you said about Power of Five and having it not just be the group part that we do that's very structured, but also the one offs and the benefits that we all receive from being able to have that ability to reach out on the side.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm biased just because I've loved, being a part of Aspire and Power of Five for so many years. And but I would tell you, across every ERG we have, I there are mentorship opportunities that are formalized in some way, shape, or form. Your HR partner has things that are very helpful from a mentor perspective. And I think if anybody's listening to this and is maybe, a manager or director, and hasn't mentored yet, which I would imagine is rare, but if it hasn't yet, same thing, right? Reach out to an ERG and be like, hey, how can I help? Trust me, they'll put you to work, right? So
Yes, we will.
I think that's about it. No, it's Michelle. I think you're great. I love your energy. It's such an honor to even be considered to be interviewed for something like this. But it does matter. I think it's important. One of my favorite characters is a guy by the name of Harmonious Bosch. He's from a Michael Conley series of books, and he has a saying. It's everyone matters, or nobody matters. And I think it's important that we remember everybody around us matters. And as we go through our journey, and there's times when we realize our unconscious bias or realize our fears, just step in and overcome them, right? Just lean in. And we have such an opportunity here at Medtronic. So Michelle, thanks so much for spending time with me. Means a ton. And I think it's important that people know they can get a hold of us. I'm available on Teams, I'm available on LinkedIn. If you want some time on my calendar, I will make that time. I really will. And again, others will as well. So Michelle, thanks so very, very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, wasn't that great? I cannot reiterate enough. if you want to connect with Steve, for sure, reach out. He is always willing to help. And I would say, once again, from this episode, some of the takeaways, and I would say it actually seems to be a theme all week here, and I promise you that the guests had no idea what each other were talking about. But the takeaways, number one, you own your career. You need to be the one to reach out and to ask for help. And that is the best news ever, right? People also want to be helping you. So you are in charge of your career. Great to know. And people want to help you. Also great to know. It's like a match made in heaven, right? Okay, friends, we have one more episode tomorrow. I'm super excited to put a bow on this series for you. So please make sure you listen tomorrow as I share a conversation with Phoebe Swan around mentoring and global inclusion, diversity, and equity. But for now, make it a great day. Take care. Did you know you can take this work to a deeper level with me one-on-one? Go to michelleburkecoaching.com and click on Get Started to begin.